Yes, people, welcome back to Albert J TV. Life Stories Part 5. But before we get into it, let's hit the intro. Yes, people, welcome back. Welcome back to Albert J TV. As I said, Life Stories Part 5. As you guys can see, this is a very weird night for me tonight because usually I'm the one getting asked the question as opposed to asking the question. So I've got my adopted Guna family here with me. But guys, before we get into it, you should know what to do by now. And there you have it once again. Big up to the people in the chat when you do arrive. Russ is already in there. Yeah, guys, there's been so much going on for the last, goodness knows, 72 hours or so. A lot of information to digest. I am football ESL drunk, officially. A lot to talk about. But guys, further ado, I'm going to introduce Craig. How's it going, mate? And thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely, my pleasure, mate. It's the least I can do. You've always been there for us. Never let me down. So here we are, and I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to having some questions to ask. To be honest, it'll be nice for me to answer the questions instead of answering them. So yeah, looking forward to it.
No, absolutely no. Craig, cheers, mate. No, yeah, because like people's availability is not always. They're not always available. So for you guys to make the time for me, give me a platform, much love, man. So Dan, Mr. Livestream King, he's here.
How you doing, man?
Good. Hang on a second. You got that bit mixed up, have you?
That's for both of you. That's for both of you. Don't worry about it. I'm warming up slowly.
I didn't know if I was on a podcast or in a nightclub, man. That intro, Jesus! I thought to myself, like, Craig, we've got a lot to live up to here, Craig. Do you know what I mean? That's a yeah, isn't it just?
I do try. That's it. Craig's got the moves, mate. That's it. Go on,
bro. Mate, Albert, absolute pleasure to be on, man. Always a fan of coming on and speaking to you, man. So thanks for having me on.
No, much appreciated. No, I appreciate it, guys, man. You know, like I said, when I started YouTube, to many people that see me do my content over the time, I love Arsenal, love football, obviously, but I wanted to be a bit original with some of my content that I've done since June last year. So, guys, I'm going to get the elephant out of the room firstly. I want to touch on it quickly. I mean, all this stuff about the European Super League. I'll be honest with you, Craig and Dan. I've kind of kept a back seat with it. I've spoken about it probably at the most 2 or 3 times. There's been a lot of development, a lot of things to take in, a lot of things to talk about. So, Craig, I'm going to kick off with you, mate. Sort of from the breaking news last Sunday to what you've heard and seen over the last 4 days, what was your initial thoughts back on Sunday, going through right till what you might have heard in the last couple of days?
Well, my initial thoughts when I first heard it were, that sounds good. Bit of money. This is what we've wanted for God knows how many years. This is what we've all been advocating towards. This sounds great. But then when you sit down and you look at the nitty-gritty,
yeah,
nothing but corruption. Nothing but corruption. Now, I won't bore everyone going through, but it's still stinking of corruption, Albert. And I'll tell you why I think it's still stinking of corruption. Isn't it funny that all 6 of the Premier League clubs were the first to leave it, one after the other?
Yeah.
And we're now hearing that UEFA might have paid a few quid to the English clubs to come out of it.
Then
after all the 6 clubs announce that they're coming out of it, they then decide that they're going to revamp the Champions League again. Now, like, what is going on? What is going on? It just stinks. All of it stinks. Something is deep, dark, and mysterious about football at the moment, and I hate it. I just wish it could be. I just wish we could go back to when it was simple. I hate all this toing and froing. But look, it's not getting done, so that's a good thing. Like I said, it was never going to be a good thing. I'll be honest with everyone. When I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be a good thing. I listened to Perez's interview, and a few things he said, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. That's kind of good. Yeah, that's something I've been looking for. When he started mentioning about VAR and mic'd up referees and stuff like this, I was like, oh, interesting. Perhaps this might not be so bad after all. But then when you actually, like I said, when you actually take a step back, I mean, like, I've got friends who support West Ham. How am I supposed to look them in the eye? Say this European Super League had gone ahead. How am I supposed to look my mates in the eye? Yeah. If they had qualified for the Champions League, they've been waiting. Let's say they're as old as me. They've been waiting 30 years for West Ham to qualify for the Champions League, right? Then all of a sudden, a Super League comes in. Then all them teams that they've been looking forward to play in Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, AC Milan, Inter Milan, all those teams that they could get drawn out again are not there now.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to look him in the eye and go, oh yeah, but we deserve to be there, you don't? When we finish 9th and they finish 4th. It's just it was so much corruption. And but it's still not right, Albert. There's still something fishy about it, mate. There's still something fishy about it. Like I said, I'll leave you with that. Why did the six English clubs come out of it, one after the other, and why were they all first to drop out of it? Don't tell me they all dropped out of the goodness of the heart, because I don't believe that. I'd say there was a couple of brown envelopes delivered, and they've dropped out.
Craig, do you think there's anything to do with it, with the threat from the sort of governing bodies, in terms of the guys that were still involved within the latter stages of the European competitions, 4 English clubs actually still being that they was threatened of being expelled from the competition? Do you think that was even possible that would even happen? Because that's supposed to happen this Friday, apparently.
What, you mean the UEFA competitions?
In terms of the English club being expelled if they took part in
I don't think they would have had the bottle to expel them, to be honest. No. I don't think so. And it's like when people say about, oh, you could get chucked out of the Premier League. There's no way to say. Yeah. But yeah, there's something. But you see, the thing is about it, right? Arsenal have left it. Liverpool have left it. Spurs, Manchester United,
Chelsea, yeah,
right. Yeah, Manchester City and Chelsea have left it, but it doesn't make no bones to them, because they've got rich owners. So it makes no bones to them whether they're in it or not. They were only going in to make an extra few pound for themselves, which probably what Arsenal were doing as well. But what I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter for Manchester City and Chelsea, because next year they can go and splash 500 million on players anyway. So it makes no bones to them whether they're in it or they're not. It's different for Spurs, Arsenal, Manchester United, and Liverpool, because perhaps they haven't got, an everlasting bank balance from a sugar daddy.
Yeah.
The only club that had massive benefits out of this was Tottenham. Tottenham fans must have been pinching themselves when this was happening.
They said it wasn't happy, but I'm not really sure.
But if it had gone ahead, you can't say that. If you were a Spurs fan, you'd have been going, this is mad. We haven't won a league title since 1961. We won a Carling Cup in 2008. And here we are, guaranteed for the next 23 years with Europeans elite. They must have been pinching themselves. But look, for the good of the game, it hasn't happened, and I'm happy about that.
No, same here. I was I'll be honest with you, the doom and gloom before I come to Dan that was sort of surfacing around social media and obviously our fan base as Arsenal fans. It was, I said it, man, Sunday the 18th of April was a dark day for football. in terms of Arsenal, Dan, I'm going to come to you. I mean, I don't know too many Arsenal fans that exist that have got any sort of time or have said anything half decent about Stan Kroenke. But I think even for those that might have wanted to give him the resemblance of any credit for his time at Arsenal, that went out the window on Sunday. And yeah, sort of, what's the same question to you, mate? So what's your feelings and thoughts at the time, and sort of the subsequent days after? What's your feeling towards like the ESL and sort of Arsenal side of it?
Man, the last 3 days just sums up 2021. You know, it's been farcical, it's been controversial throughout the whole of this year and last year. And the last 3 days, it couldn't have happened in a better, more suited year than the crap we've had to deal with in the last 18 months. So nothing surprises me in football. What does surprise me, however, is how any Arsenal fan can get behind Stan Kroenke and start to explain to me how they want this guy at the club anymore. And I think there are probably a certain section of the fan base that I've always called out and been very vocal on podcasts and social media about how the fans can't unite. And the reason I said fans can't unite is because it's so frustrating, because I can see how easy it is. And over the last few days, we've seen how easy it is. The fans are the most vocal point of football in this country and in the world. Fans have a voice and fans are listened to, and it proved it. Fans won. Fans didn't want this. So as much as I take some of what Craig's saying into account in terms of UEFA and getting involved and the corruption of it, I still feel the fans had a huge, huge part to play in why this didn't happen. Yeah. And what I'll say about Stan Kroenke is, why are people surprised now after hearing what this guy wanted us to do? Why are people surprised that he was not bothered where we were finishing every single season in the last 5 years? This isn't something that was drew up 5 weeks ago, Albert. This has been going on for 6 years. Yeah, 100%. Stan Kroenke knew for the last 5 years, it does not matter if we're not in the Champions League. It does not matter if we don't win in Europe, because we are going to be in the European Super League at some point in the next 5 years. And it nearly got drawn up to happen. And the fans have squashed it. The media have squashed it. The section of pundits that have come out and said how bad it is, I bow to them. And do you know what? Well done, Chelsea, by the way, because Leeds did it. Yeah, fair play to Leeds, by the way. But Chelsea were in the Big Six and they came out and did it first. So well played to them. I'm not a huge fan of them. I don't like Chelsea at all. But well played, because that's what we need. And that's what we need on Friday. Yeah, everybody needs to go out there and unite to get this guy out, because I will be there on Friday. I will be there the next week. I'll be there at Brighton when I go to Brighton, and I'll keep going until this guy's gone, because this guy does not deserve to have Arsenal in the same sentence as him. This is not what we want moving forward. And people can say he's allowed money to be spent. It didn't come out of his pocket, though. Let's be real. We have been a self-sustaining model for 15 years. Yeah, Aubameyang was signed off Champions League money, as was Lacazette. Weren't even in the Champions League when we signed them both, by the way. Yeah, people think Thomas Partey was paid by Stan Kroenke. I say BS. Chance. Yeah, BS. I do not believe that this guy has spent a penny on Arsenal Football Club moving forward. We have spent a lot of money, yeah, but look at what we've spent it on. You can go on the poor recruitment. You can look at the board. You can look at the owners and the board. This guy was letting it all happen underneath him. He didn't care. He was not interested. Get me into that European Super League and we will see when we get my money. Now there's no European Super League. I believe behind the scenes, and there's a lot of rumors, he's going to be happy to sell now. And I think he's aware. He doesn't even have to unpack his bags. He doesn't have to pack his bags. He didn't even unpack them. He's been here for 15 years. Where is he? He's never, ever been. Gary Neville was right. They don't have voices, these owners. They're never about at the games. And Daniel Levy's maybe an exception, and Roman Abramovich, I mean, he's not even allowed in the UK anymore. No. I would say that we have a great, great chance now of getting what we want. And everybody knows I'm not a Mikel Arteta fan, right? I don't blame Mikel Arteta. I point the finger at that clown for putting him in the job when he is not good enough to be in the job, right? And also what I do is I would say this: give me Mikel Arteta out or Stan Kroenke out, and I would cling on to Mikel Arteta as long as I could, just as long as that absolute fool and corrupt fraud goes. I can't stand him. I can't stand him. I can't stand his son. And I can't stand the people that he's employed. They all need to go. Laters.
Yeah, 100%. Well said, Craig and Dan. What I'll add to it, sort of before we move on to why I brought you guys on here in the first place, to get away from ESL, just a bit of therapeutic talk about other things. I don't, this is what I don't understand. Like, even with certain players at Arsenal, that the Arsenal fan base know are not good enough. It's almost taken this season to realize that, oh, you know what, we might need a better right back, for example, or we might need a better centre midfield, or we need to get a new owner now. Why has it taken this long to get that realization? That makes no sense to me. As for your way from FIFA quickly, it's all well then coming out saying it's a disgrace and people are snakes, but they're a disgrace. They've always been a disgrace. You just back in the days of Sepp Blatter trying to push through this World Cup every 2 years. The reason why FIFA stayed silent for a couple of days is because they got their fingers in the pie, so one having this FIFA Club World Cup Championship. You wait for putting those out of joint. You know what? Probably because it wasn't even their idea. That's why they're annoyed. It's all about money and greed. Big up Patrick Bamford. Spot on yesterday. Spot on. If you wait for want to talk about Fury and things happening underhand, get your own house in order when it comes to dealing with racism. Then you can start pointing the fingers at people. So that's my thing on that. But Craig, you're right. In terms of some things don't add up to me. Even I saw Paolo Maldini came out, he's director at AC Milan, saying that he had no idea this was going on. Director at AC Milan. And
I think a lot of...
Go on, mate. Sorry, mate.
A lot of people have got to realise, right? This has got nothing to do with Mikel Arteta. This has got nothing to do with the players. It's got nothing to do. It's got nothing to do with Arsenal. If you want, it's got nothing to do with the club as we know it.
Yeah,
Stan Kroenke has gone behind everyone's backs, right? Dan's completely right what he says. There's photographs of Ivan Gazidis, John Henry.
Surfacing, yeah,
from 1998 or so, so all sitting around the table having something to eat. Now, make of that what you will. People are saying, "Oh, you know what people are like. They'll meme it up." But look, I wouldn't be surprised if they was having a chat about something like that. Who knows? But what we have got to understand here is, you don't take it out on the manager. You don't take it out on the players. You don't take it out on the tea lady. You don't take it out on the kit man. This is solely down to Stan Kroenke. Do you know, like, all the managers have come out and said, "Well, I didn't know nothing about it until you knew about it." And then, like you say, mate, then you've got Paolo Maldini coming out, who's an AC Milan legend, who I think is their director. He's their director, isn't he?
Yeah, he said he didn't know.
And he comes out and says that he didn't know. It's all been done behind everyone's backs. And I'll tell you something as well. They were very crafty at the time of releasing it as well. Releasing this when there was no fans in the stadium. 100%. Imagine the Emirates Stadium now on Friday night if it was full to the rafters.
Yeah. 100%.
Imagine the outcry that will be inside that ground in front of Sky Sports cameras or BT Sport cameras, whoever it is who's showing the game. Imagine the outcry. Not just in the stadium. There'd be people outside the stadium protesting with banners and you know what?
Yeah.
Then inside the ground, the protest will continue. The rancid atmosphere would come across on the telly. It's all been done so craftily, and it just goes to show you everything. We haven't even had people I put out on Twitter there this afternoon, where's Kroenke? Where's Kroenke's apology?
Nothing. Still nothing.
And someone said to me, but Arsenal have said sorry. What more do you want? What more do I want?
Yeah, but that wasn't direct.
I'll tell you what more I want. I want more than a picture of the badge.
Yeah.
And them saying, oh, sorry about that. We got it wrong. But buy the shirts next year, won't you?
Yeah, another 25 training kits, yeah.
Yeah, do you know? I want Kroenke on a screen telling us why. And I want his, I want to see an apology. Now, fair play to John Henry, the Liverpool owner.
Who came
but
out,
you can see the reflection of the cue board in his glasses. So it's not coming from his heart. He don't mean it.
No,
it's all scripted for him. They go, I'll just read that out. Don't worry. They'll buy the tickets when we go back. Just read that out to them and they'll forgive you. That kind of a thing, do you know?
Yeah.
I think it's high time, right? Last thing I'll say about it. I think it's high time the Premier League took their product and sold it themselves. Take it off Sky and take it off BT. Get yourself a platform yourselves, the Premier League. Get yourselves a platform. Go and sell your own product. Charge everyone on the planet 20 quid a month to watch it, like a Netflix kind of thing.
Yeah.
Get all your archives from the years gone by. Put it up there. I will gladly pay £20 a month. As long as I can watch Arsenal every week, home and away, I'll give you the money. And then to have all that extra content from when the Premier League started, from right up to now, to have it all at my fingertips, to watch any Premier League game I want, start selling your own product. Take it away from Sky. Take it away from BT. You don't need them. You need us, the fans.
100%. Well said. Yeah, my final 2 pennies worth is it. I think when I saw the statement yesterday that Arsenal part like everybody else did, the thing that stood out for me straight away was about the sort of getting the fans back on side in the faith. I thought, you know what? I almost choked when I read that. That's the first thing. Secondly, like I said, when I listened to Carvey Solical on Sky and he's talking about one of the directors was sitting at a game and someone next to him had to tell him
we all know that.
Listen, I think if anybody wanted any indication that these owners don't have the first clue or care about what they're doing in terms of the football in this country, that summed it up. But guys, live in the chat, smash the like button, like I say, hit the notification bell, and come and subscribe to the channel. And I don't need to introduce the other guys because you should be following them already anyway. But yeah, let me get on with the life stories part 5. So first question I'm gonna kick off with Dan actually. Let's get it up on the screen because not everybody knows why everybody's journey starts with Arsenal. So Dan, your Arsenal story, mate. How did you come to support Arsenal, and what are your earliest memories, mate?
Well, I was born in 87, man. So I missed, I was too young to remember 89, unfortunately. And I was also a little bit too young to remember 91, which was a season that everyone just brushes it past, and only losing one game. What a team that was, and just because I wasn't around to see it live doesn't mean that I don't know what the history of the club was. Back in the 70s, obviously, was fantastic time as well. But for me growing up, it got to about 1992 and I would have been kind of 4 or 5 years old, getting into football. And I remember watching a game of football with my dad, who, believe it or not, didn't like football. I got my dad into football. It's normally the other way around. My dad was more into sport, any sport. He watched any sport, but wasn't really following a team or anything like that in terms of football. He was actually more into Formula One. So I watched the game, and it was a Crystal Palace game. And I remember watching Ian Wright. I just thought, whoa, why is this guy so much better than everyone else on the pitch? And he moved to Arsenal.
Brilliant.
And growing up, I was an Essex boy, so it was going to be a London club, but I didn't quite know which one it was going to be. And I just fell in love with Ian Wright, and he basically made me love football. Moved to Arsenal, was superb with George Graham, and he was by far our best player. And I just kept watching Arsenal, followed them everywhere. 90 earliest memories was the cups in 93 against Sheffield Wednesday.
Yes.
Obviously, Parma, Copenhagen 94 was a fantastic night as well. So they're probably my earliest memories, successful memories. And then I remember I went to school, and one of my best mate, and still is my best mate now, he moved down from Walthamstow to Essex, and his parents worked up there at the club on the gates. So his dad and his uncle, and they used to just let me into the North Bank. So I used to just go up there and sit up the back and watch the games. And luckily, I kind of went to the games in the early kind of 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, where we were just phenomenal. So that's my kind of Arsenal story as to why Arsenal, and the rest, as they say, is history, because I've fallen out in love with this club, and trust me, it will kill me. It will kill me one day. Trust me. It's amazing how attached and emotional you can get towards
100%.
a football club. It really is.
Yeah.
But that's me. And 92 is my earliest memory. When Ian Wright signed, I kind of just missed the Rocky and Righty unfortunately.
Yeah.
But this shirt behind me does not fit me anymore, trust me. But that was my favourite, is still my favourite away shirt. I know you've got one in the background, Albert, as well. And that was kind of the season for me, really. That I was, obviously Craig's got a lovely one on as well.
Craig's modelling it beautifully. Thank you, Craig. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's my story, man. That's why Arsenal, Ian Wright, I've got a lot to thank him for, and I will definitely meet him one day. Same birthday as me as well, man. 3rd of November, both of us. Love the guy, still do. Always will be my favourite Arsenal player. So, yeah, that's me.
Well said. And you know what? My claim to fame of Wright is he went to the same secondary school that I went to. Different name, but the same school. So the broccoli roots are in me. Good old SC4. So now that great shout, man. You know what? Like I said to people listening on audio. I forgot to say it goes on audio as well on Spotify and Anchor. I will put this on my Instagram, IGTV. Wright is a huge factor for me, and I'm 21 plus VAT. So I remember 1994 very, very well. KC, Alan Smith, Smudger, happy days, man. But Craig, same question to you, mate. Sort of, what's your Arsenal story and your fondest and earliest memories, mate?
Just before I do say, have you got an admin? Can you chuck Goonatel out there? That's comment.
Yeah.
Goonatel.
Get him out.
I'm the only admin.
Oh, I'm going to tell. That is brilliant.
There's always one, isn't there? There's always one.
Yeah, always.
My one's a bit topsy turvy. Love that word. I've been using that word quite a lot lately. My one's a bit topsy turvy. My dad was an Arsenal fan, and obviously that's why I support Arsenal. I support Arsenal. My dad I support Arsenal. My brother supports Arsenal. My nan and granddad supported, Arsenal are in the family. But when I was growing up, because I was always playing football, I wasn't a massive watcher of football, if that makes sense.
No, makes sense.
When football was being played, I was over the field playing football myself. I'd come back and watch the scores, or I'd be downtown with my mates. And I'd walk past the local Dixon's at 5:15, and I'd be standing in the window watching like 150 TV screens with the video printer on it. Do you know, watching all the results come in. The boys would be going, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, no, sorry, just hang on, I'm just watching the results." Because when I was young, I was a lad who always wanted to be outside. You know, I wasn't really one of these lads who would sit in and watch football. My dad was more into F1 and more into rugby.
Yeah.
And because I was always out, he didn't really have a chance to sit me down and say, "Right, son, this is your team and this is who you're going to watch." I would watch anyone. I can remember when football used to be on ITV when it was free.
Oh, those are the days, mate.
I'd come home from playing, I used to play youth football when I was a boy. I used to come home from playing into the bath, out of the bath, in front of the telly on a Sunday afternoon. And I'd watch whoever it was, whether it be Manchester City versus Nottingham Forest or Liverpool versus Everton or Arsenal or whoever it was. My earliest memory of an Arsenal fan is obviously sitting down to watch, coming home from training that night and sitting down to watch the 89 game at Anfield.
Yeah,
that's my earliest full match that I can remember sitting down and watching, and people are saying, "Oh, 89, of course it is." Well, it actually is. I can remember going to school on the Monday, and we all had our Arsenal shirts on, and this, that, and the other. But yeah, it's like I said, it's been a strange journey for me as an Arsenal fan, because when I was playing football, obviously a lot of people know that I used to play at Ipswich Town. So when I was playing at Ipswich Town, I used to get free tickets every week, and it was only 25 miles down the road, and it was £1 on the bus. So a lot of my time, I have to be honest, on football terraces was watching Ipswich. Okay. But when the Arsenal came to town, I was sitting on my hands kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? But Arsenal have always been, in my blood. Arsenal have always been in my family. Arsenal have always been my team. I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we've all got another team that we look after, that we watch after. I know a lot of my mates have. People might say to me, "No, I haven't. I've only got one team." That's fine, but I've got Arsenal and I've got Ipswich on the side. Like, do you know what I mean? So that's my kind of story, really, about how I became to be an Arsenal fan. But then, when I really locked on, would be like Dan, like 93, 94. I can remember that cup final when Andy Linegan scored that header to give us the win over Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. Those kind of games, I'm going back now, I'm trying to think the earliest memory. I can remember when Ian Wright scored in the Charity Shield in this shirt against Peter Schmeichel. Yeah. Those games are flooding back to me now when I think about my childhood when watching football. The cup final, the cup final against Parma. I was just Albert. It didn't matter who was playing. Yeah. If there was football on the telly, I'd watch it. I mean, I can remember watching Man United and Barcelona in the European Cup final that time. I can remember finished training. We were all in the clubhouse after training, which I still am a football fanatic. When it comes to English football, I'll watch any English football unless it's Spurs. Well, I will watch Spurs, but hope they get beat. Obviously, I support the other team. I was watching Southampton earlier, and hoping that Southampton will win. But since I moved to Ireland, really, it was when I really locked on to Arsenal because I had no way of keeping up to date with Ipswich scores or going to watch Ipswich and things like that. So. Yeah, that was when I really locked on. I mean, that was over 25 years ago now. So, yeah, but like Dan says, they're in me now. They're my club. They're my team. I still watch. I still look out for the Blue Army and all that. But
yeah,
they're my first team. They've always been my first team, really. But it's just been situational of what situation you're in when you're a kid. It's all different. But yeah, Arsenal are the team for me, and they will be until I'm not here anymore.
That's it, always, mate. That's what I like to hear. None of that rebranding, naming stuff, rubbish. But no, I think for me, I think to add further to what you guys are saying about some of the players you've mentioned and some of the games, this is sort of one of my kind of I don't know if gripe's the right word with. I'll say sections of the Arsenal fan base in terms of the sentiment towards some of these group of players over recent years. When you guys talk about players that, when you sort of watch Arsenal and coming through, for me, I get it. I get the love and the adulation for these guys because not only were they successful, you could relate to them. They were, you have a reason to have sentiment towards these players. I don't really have that to a majority of the group of these players today playing for Arsenal sort of the last 4 or 5 years. For me, that's the key difference. So now, guys, great insight there from you guys. Now is a killer question coming in now. Let's move on to the next one. I'm going to start off with Craig first, actually. Who's the most underrated Arsenal player that you've ever seen play for the club?
I've been thinking about this question because I knew it was coming. And there hasn't been many, right? Because if you think about it, right, you go back through the years and you look through the Arsenal players, they've either been good or they've either been terrible. There's never been many that have been in between.
Yeah.
You could have a shout that Abu Dhabi was underrated. People call him underrated. I don't call him underrated. I call him fantastic. But he was unlucky with injuries. That's why we never got to see him. But when I was thinking about it, right, there's one player that sticks out for me, and there might be a bit of surprise about this.
Yeah, I like the surprise element, Craig. Go on, mate.
But the one player I think was highly underrated at this football club was Alexander Hleb. He was
sustainability,
one of the best players on a football I've ever seen play for us. I thought he was absolute mustard. He could pass, he could dribble, he could score. He could read the game. He was playing the game way before his time. His mental, his brain, his footballing brain was well ahead of his age. And when Arsene Wenger was kind of bringing those types of players in, the team was full of those kind of players. Fabregas was another one who was there at the time. But I thought Alexander Hleb was very underrated. And a lot of people say, he weren't no good. He weren't no good. I'll challenge anyone to say that he weren't no good to go on YouTube and watch a couple of compilations of him because he was fantastic. Fantastic football. And I was gutted when he went. Absolutely gutted. But
Barcelona,
he was young. The pound notes were waved in front of his face. And can we blame him? Can you blame him? I don't know. Can you blame him for moving on? If you're at that age, Barcelona come calling, and especially the team that Barcelona had at the time, you're Iniesta, you're Xavi, you're Messi, you're Christ. You know, the star names go on. I was gutted when he left. And I'll always remember when he left because it really, I was really gutted because I had him up there. I had him up there with Fabregas and you know, and all the good young players that we had coming through. And I thought he was going to move on and become an Arsenal great. So I was really disappointed, and I think he was very underrated as a player. I really do. I liked him. I loved him. He was tenacious. He was tough. He didn't mind the tackle. He'd go in. But there's sometimes when he had the ball at his feet, the way he just glided past people and the way he used to get himself out of trouble and the balls he could pass, you know, the channels he put the ball in, you'd be looking at it going, God, how did he see that? He was fantastic. So the most underrated player I've ever seen, in my opinion, and my player is Hleb, Alexander Hleb.
Good shout. That's nice out of the box there. Just bring Dan in. Go on, Dan. Let's hit me with it. Who's the one that sort of you think, you know what? He weren't half a bad player, you know what?
Yeah, man, this is a good question and one that I've been asked before. And
Granit
it
Xhaka.
took me a long time.
No, it's not bloody Granit.
Yeah, it certainly ain't him, man. You can bet your bottom dollar it is not Granit Xhaka.
Where's Simeon? Is he watching?
Oh, man, I hate this guy. So this one for me is difficult for a few reasons because I think there's been quite a few. Hleb wasn't even on my list, and I think it's a great shout from Craig. I was a huge fan of Alexander Hleb. Ray Parlour come to mind. I think that a lot of people, there was an article years ago which I cannot find, but this was a question that was put to the fans, and the answer was Kanu. But I have really rated Kanu, so I wouldn't have even thought of Kanu because I already rated him. Olivier Giroud, some people think is. Dan's going to pick Mustafi. Thank you for that, Rich.
Go on, Rich.
A lot of people have looked at players like that. For me, the one that stands out the most is one that you did not see what they did until they were injured or out of the team. This player was always overlooked because of the partner he had next to him. And when he was out, boy, did we miss him. Gilberto Silva, for me, was the most underrated Arsenal player. And people who don't understand what Gilberto Silva brings, then watch a game of football, right? You will not see the guy. You will think he's had a poor game. You will think, where's he been today? Then you watch that same game again, but don't take your eyes off Gilberto Silva for 90 minutes. And trust me, you will learn more in that 90 minutes about a game of football than you ever have in your life.
Massive shout,
same with Sergio Busquets. Never gets the credit because of Xavi and Iniesta in front of him and Messi in front of him. Rightly so, top class players. For me, Gilberto Silva all day long. When he was injured, you think we've got Vieira still here, but why the hell do we look crap in the middle? Because that guy weren't there. And the other thing I'll say about it is this. When we moved to the Emirates, he came over with us and he stayed there much longer than some of the others and never got the credit he deserved for staying put. Everybody jumped ship. Henry, Lauren, Lundberg, Ashley Cole, Sol Campbell, Pires. Then Kolo Touré went to Man City with Adebayor. Who stayed? Yeah. He got dumped out of the team by Flamini and Fabregas. Still stayed. He deserves so much more credit than he got. And for me, it's not even close. Gilberto Silva, most underrated Arsenal player, 100%.
Great shot.
Dan and Craig, massive shots. Guys in the chat, you throw in a couple of names if you feel like it, but I'm not going to disagree with the two names that I've heard. But For me
there's one
personally,
there. There's one. Sorry, mate. There's one there, Albert. Mark Darby is a big shout as well, actually. Alex Song.
Good shout, yeah. Good old Mark in the chat. Go on, Mark. But for me, Dan's already mentioned the guy I'm going to pick, actually. And I actually kind of forget how long he was at Arsenal for. Doesn't live too far away from my neck of the woods. I would say that anyway. Good old TFL route. let me give him some grace. Ray Parler.
Mr. Parler.
Good shout.
And you know what it is for me with Ray Parler, like I said, I think he's at Arsenal about 12, 14 years into that period. You know, when you finish your career as a footballer, you look back what you won, he should be very, very happy. More than happy. A lot more than what some footballers ever won in their career. And I don't know what happened when Arsene Wenger came to Arsenal. I think Ray Parler went up a couple of levels, to be honest with you. And actually, that season when we won the league in 97, 98, I personally think he was the best right-sided midfield player in the country. And he deserved to go to the World Cup that year in 97. I thought he was phenomenal. When people talk about hard work and, you know, commitment, his name would be beside that. I thought he was exceptional. And I was thinking, you know, I'm hosting the show. What these guys I'm going to ask the questions. They're going to give me fantastic answers. But then as a host, I'm kind of thinking, you know, who am I going to pick? And I thought, you know what, Ray Parler for me. There's good shouts of Abu Diaby. If it wasn't for the injuries, you know, that standout game. I know he lost the Carling Cup final at Millennium Stadium. His performance that day, Diaby was in a different league. I still remember it to this day, and we lost that game. But yeah, good shout, Dan, with Gilberto.
I remember that day. Kicking John Terry in the face was a great hit that day, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. I'm not
kicking racism out of football, literally.
Oh, well, I'm glad you said that. But no, yeah, it's a good shout for the two guys you mentioned. And yeah, for me, yeah, I'm going to give it to Romford Pele, man. Like I said, when Wenger came to Arsenal, I just think he transformed his game to another level.
He did. Yeah, he did.
He did, definitely.
A lot of people forget Ray Parler was been at Arsenal since he was 12 or 13, I think, wasn't it? So
yeah, long
time. So yeah, that's a good shout too, Ray Parler.
There's some good shouts in the chat, you know. Some good shouts in the chat.
The chat's getting lively. Yeah,
Kevin
good old
Richardson.
Rico. Yeah. Can't forget Rico, man.
Kevin Richardson, yeah, bloody hell, that is a good shout.
You know what? I'm gonna get someone mentioned that I actually was thinking about players. I thought about Lauren and I thought about this guy.
Yeah, another good shout. Another very good shout.
Judges will tell you about Paul Davis all night long.
Yeah.
Judges like Paul Davis.
Yeah. Very easy on the eye. You know, you could give him the ball, just look very comfortable in possession. Very, very underrated. It's a good shout in the chat. Some good shots.
He was another one, like Dan says, like Gilberto Silva. Paul Davis was another one. You'd only notice him when he weren't there. Do you know?
Yeah, Mark, good shout, Kevin Richardson, man. Absolutely. Jesus, man. What a name from a blast from the past. Any young gooners watching this now, go and do your Wikipedia, and there's other search engines out there as well. So, let me get some more juicy questions in from our fantastic panel. Where's the next one? This is a good one, actually. I think, anyway. Going to kick off with Dan, actually. What past and present football managers would you like to have seen manage Arsenal? You can have one of each, mate.
I'll pick one past and one present. If I had to pick one present, it'd be Jurgen Klopp. Because I believe his style of play is outstanding, and I think that what he's achieved for Liverpool is a lot more commendable than Pep Guardiola. I know he spent a lot of money, Klopp, but I think he's done it the right way. And I think that he has managed to sell players like Coutinho and buy the players he needs with it, like Van Dijk and Alisson, but also his recruitment, his team ethic has been fantastic. His style of football is the best to watch. I absolutely love watching Liverpool over the last 2-3 seasons. I don't like them as a football club, but I certainly do enjoy them watching, and I've been entertained by them. So I wanted Jurgen Klopp in 2014. I wanted him ahead of Pep Guardiola, and unfortunately Wenger stayed a little bit too long for my liking after Hull. So I would go for Klopp for current. past, I don't really think there's anyone else that I can look at other than Sir Alex Ferguson. He's the best manager the world's ever seen, in my opinion. And to have the ability to keep going, to have the team talks he must have had, the amount of times I saw Manchester United turn up when they were looking down because of that man, the amount of times I saw them win games in the last 4 or 5 minutes. Ooh. I would have to go with Sir Alex Ferguson. I don't think I can go with any more. The other one that came to my mind was Bobby Robson, but I think I'm going to have to go with Sir Alex Ferguson because I think that he lit up the Premier League and he made Arsene Wenger, Jose Mourinho, the managers they were, because he kept pushing them. And you know, they had to be pushed because, you know, they were an unbelievable side. And growing up in the 90s, I hated Manchester United because of that man, because it wasn't just because of the team. It was because of that man. He was so good. He was the one everyone had to beat. And when he lost, you can bet your bottom dollar he would not lose again the next year. He never, ever did. It was just like, I'm going to win the next time. And, you know, how he won the league the year that he left, I will never know. With Phil Jones and Chris Smalling at the back,
Very true.
With 38-year-old Paul Scholes in the middle, with our bloody striker they nicked off us in Van Persie, who was the only one that turned out the whole year. And apart from him and Wayne Rooney, everyone else was dire. So, yeah, I have to give the guy credit, and I'm going to have to go for Klopp and Ferguson, man.
Good shouts. Craig, gonna fire the same question at you, mate.
Yeah, mate. I think Klopp is everyone's. Jurgen Klopp is everyone's obvious answer for present, but mine's different. If we were to sack Mikel if we were to sack Mikel Arteta in the morning, there's one fella I'd be ringing straight away, and that is Bielsa from Leeds United.
Wow.
I would take him in a heartbeat at this club because my philosophy and his philosophy is the same. Football should be played beautifully and football should be played simply. That is why when Arsene Wenger first came to Arsenal, I loved him so much. Because if you watch those Arsene Wenger teams in those early years, we played football so simplistically. We played football how it was supposed to be played. 1 touch, 1, 2, move on, get in the channels, make the runs in the channels, just put the ball in the channel, let the ball do the work. The ball will do the work. You just put it in the back of the net. He reminds me a little bit of Arsene Wenger in the way that he plays and the way that he's got his Leeds team set up. He loves to play simple, simplistic football. That is why I'd love to see him come. I don't like this modern era, Albert, of football, of left wing inverted right midfielder striker. What's an inverted wing back? No one can still answer me that question. What is an inverted wing back?
I can't answer it. I can't.
What is all that about? It's either a right fullback. There's no such thing as a right wing back. It's a right fullback, and that's it.
New positions, make up new positions.
Yeah, I like to play.
Everyone loves to play false nine. Oh, Jesus.
I like to play football simply. I mean, when I was younger, I was captain of my local team, Clacton Town, and I always used to be barking out to the boys, "Just keep it simple, play football simply. 1 touch, don't overcomplicate things." That's how I like to play football, and that's how I like to watch it being played. My second manager from the past was he has been named. Mark's named him already, and the second, obviously the obvious choice again was Alex Ferguson. That's the obvious choice. Yeah. But my choice would have been Bobby Robson. I'd love to have seen Bobby Robson at Arsenal. Again, another connection with Ipswich. He was manager at Ipswich when they were successful. Won the UEFA Cup with them, won the league with them.
Yeah.
Went on to manage England and take England the furthest they've been in the World Cup since '66.
Yeah.
He was manager of Barcelona. Taught Jose Mourinho the ropes, if you want. Jose Mourinho his interpreter. If anyone doesn't know, that's how he started. He was Bobby Robson's interpreter. So yeah, Bobby Robson for me. Bielsa for the present, and Bobby Robson from the past. I'd love to have seen Bobby Robson manager of Arsenal. He offered actually. My dad went to Portman Road to watch Arsenal and Ipswich. My dad's claim to fame. My dad jumped up on the dugout, and Bobby Robson threatened to knock him out. He always tells me that story. He likes that story. It's his claim to fame. Bobby Robson got out of the stand, and he said to my dad, "Did he want a bunch of fives? Bunch of fives being a fist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bunch of fives."
I always wondered why your dad, your old man, was in a wheelchair, Craig. I never realised that. Do you know what? Cloughie's a great shout as well.
Yeah, a good shout. For entertainment purposes, that would have been brilliant.
You know what? I'm glad you guys mentioned Cloughy, and big up the people in the chat as well. I'll tell you what I would have loved to seen Cloughy be. It wouldn't have happened because I think they was too scared of him, to be honest with you. And he would have caused carnage at the FA, England manager.
Yeah, well, that's why they didn't give him the job.
Yeah, because he would have caused absolute carnage.
Yeah, exactly why he didn't get it. They wouldn't have given him the job if he'd have won the Champions League, the League, the FA Cup, and the League Cup all in one season. They still wouldn't have given it to him. They didn't want Brian Clough nowhere near it because he would have absolutely torn them a new one every time England played.
And back-to-back European Cup winner.
Yeah, man.
Never let anybody forget that.
He is a very underrated. He's an underrated great, Brian Clough. An underrated great.
I was just thinking to myself, guys, people in the chat, Dan and Craig, like, I don't know how. Obviously, football moves in different cycles and it changes, and the way management's evolved and changed. I don't know how a Brian Clough sort of back then would have coped now, man. It's so different, so different.
Oh, he would have coped. He would have coped. The players would have been. The players would have been afraid of him, mate. Oh, if you haven't seen the film about his life, I forgot what it's bloody called now. Martin Sheen, The Damned United. That's it. Martin Sheen plays Brian Clough. Does a brilliant job of it. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it because it's a brilliant film. 100%. Absolutely fantastic film. And Brian Clough, he got screwed a couple of times there, and he had the last laugh in the end of it all. He had the last 100%. Laugh.
Guys, great shouts, man. People in the chat, guys, when you watch this back on replay or on your audio, get looking on your Google search and all the other search engines. Trust me, some classic scenes, mate. Yeah, Clough he knew how to take care of himself, mate, as well. Trust me, I've seen the video footage. Believe me, when he's at Forest. My shouts, current wise. I'll be honest with you. I would have said his stint at Liverpool, and I would have liked to have seen how he would have gotten at Arsenal. Rafa Benitez came with great pedigree from obviously done a very good job at Valencia, very good job at Liverpool, and even phenomenal job at Newcastle, who haven't really, to be fair, let's be honest, done anything and working under them kind of constraints. So Rafa's my current. In terms of past managers, and this was difficult. I've gone sort of further afield. I looked at people like Johan Cruyff. I thought he was outstanding. Obviously not just as a player, but his time at Barcelona, 4 La Ligas, the old European Cup back then at Wembley, early 90s. Remember that Ronald Koeman?
Nearly came true. Came true. That did.
Yeah. But my pick, actually, I've gone for somebody who comes with an impeccable CV. Mr. Marcello Lippi.
That's a great shout, that, mate.
Twice over. Yeah, and Inter Milan as well. I think he spent some time coaching in Asia, but Lippi, absolutely one of the greatest. World Cup winner 2006. X amount of Serie A titles, a Super Cup in there, Coppa Italia, Super Coppa Italiana. Great CV. And the good thing with him is people look sort of at the Italian league now and say, you know what, Juventus are going to dominate it, year in, year out. But back then, when he was in his pomp, to win it with Juventus, when he did win it twice over, fantastic manager, massive CV. I would have liked to have seen how the likes of him, maybe I would say Allegri probably 3-4 years ago, as opposed to now, how they would have pitted their wits in the Premier League. Because as you guys know, and people in the chat and on audio when you listen, Italian managers in terms of their meticulous planning and their defensive setups were just second to none, probably equal with the Germans. So yeah, for me, Marcello Lippi, huge shout. And I've got to get this picture up of Johan Cruyff. Just because I love the trench coat, it looks amazing. It looks like there's a Columbo in a dugout there, to be honest. But
I'll tell you what, mate, that's got to be one of the very few pictures of him without a fag in his hand.
Yeah, you're right. You're very right. But yeah,
that nearly happened. That nearly happened just before Arsene Wenger, you know.
Yes, good shout, Craig. Thank you. Yes,
I did.
Very
I
right.
did. Do you know what, Albert? I've just completely Shane Curtin is in the chat, and I can't believe that I've gone for Jurgen Klopp because
I know you like Simeone.
It's Simeone. It is. I've got to change it to Simeone. I would have Simeone over Klopp. I would. Love the guy. And I would go for Simeone, you know, currently.
Yeah. Shane,
if you like, if you line up all the managers over the last, I think it's 5, maybe 10 years, he's won the most games out of anyone ahead of Pep Guardiola and Klopp. So I'd go for Simeone all day long. I can't believe I've missed that out. I think I was more concentrating on Premier League stuff. But yeah, I'll go with Simeone 100%.
We'll forgive you, Dan. And to be fair, it's a good shout, Simeone, because when they won the league a few years ago, apparently they had the same wage structure as Fulham at the time. And he went and won the league in Spain. I mean, that to me at the time,
with Ronaldo and Messi playing against him every week.
Yeah,
but you got to look at the league he's managing in as well. There's only 3 teams that can win it.
Fair shout.
You know, it's like the Scottish league, isn't it? If you go and manage Rangers or Celtic, you've only got to make sure you beat one team twice and you've won the league.
I do think, though, that the reason that Atletico Madrid are in there is because Simeone took over. Because before that, Atletico Madrid weren't the top 3.
That's true. I'll give him that. Yeah, I'll give him that. That's very true. Yeah. That's very true. But it is, people say to me, some people try to tell me that the Spanish league's better than the Premier League. Like, what?
No.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Not a chance. It's a 3-team league at the moment. And like, that's why we go back to this ESL thing. That's why something's got to be done about football. Something's got to be done there. It's got open competition has got to come back into it, and open and fair competition. They've got to find a way of doing it. They've got to find a way of giving the teams that are below these kind of teams, Celtic, Rangers, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man City, Liverpool. They've got to find a way of making the teams that are below them up to standard with them. They've got to find a way of doing that without upsetting the apple cart. And you know, and football goes back to being the most entertaining thing on the planet. Well, it still is, but even more entertaining. You know, I might even watch a Spanish league game if that kind of thing started happening.
Great answers though, guys. Great managers mentioned, man. Seriously, we've been blessed to see some of these guys play football and manage them in the times that they have. But guys, like I say, smash the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and obviously follow my amazing guests on Twitter as well. And also audio listeners, when you get a chance, come and follow me on my podcast. But next question to get up. Another interesting one. Gonna kick off with Craig actually. Who is the one Arsenal player that you would have liked to have seen play, but you didn't get the chance to watch?
Oh, blimey.
I'll tell you what, Craig, I'm going to get my answer out quickly before I come to you two guys. For me, obviously, I can't help when I was born. I'm an 80s kid, but one player I've always said consistently I would have loved to have seen play was Liam Brady. From what I hear, from what I'm told, different class. And I remember seeing a particular footage of him scoring a goal against Tottenham at White Hart Lane back in I think it was early 70s. Barry Davis, great commentary, smashes it top corner. Heard great things about him. So yeah, mine's Liam Brady. Sorry, Craig, you come in, mate.
So, do you know what? I wasn't prepared for this one. Bloody hell.
Dad might slip him. Dad might have his already.
Man, do you know what, Albert? You've nicked mine. Liam Brady 100,000%.
Yeah.
100,000. Yeah. But you know, the other one is that I'm thinking of just what Craig's thinking. The other one that I would love to have seen just because of what I hear about him. When we pick 1 to 11s, and most of the time you pick a Premier League 1 to 11, if you pick an all-time Arsenal 11, Robert Pires gets nowhere near it because of one man. George Armstrong, and I'd love to have seen him play because everyone says to me, Robert Pires, Sanchez, Limpar, Overmars, forget it. Nowhere near as good as George Armstrong. Apparently, like nowhere near. And it's hard to compare decades and it's hard to compare 100. Different ages. But apparently this guy, people were offended that this guy does not get into 1-11s because he was that good. You know, and I would say that I would love to have seen them two play. Just because the amount of people that talk about Liam Brady, Lee Judges just says, look, I just ridiculously good. I don't know how you can, you know, anyone can put anybody in a 1-11 ahead of Vieira and Brady. But I didn't see him play. Would have loved to. Likewise, George Armstrong. So I'll go for Brady and Armstrong.
Dan, good shout, Potsy. Go on, Craig.
I suppose the obvious one would be David Rocastle. I mean, I never got to see him play in the flesh. Got to see him play on the telly, obviously, loads of times. But yeah, I'd love to have seen him in the flesh, playing football because he was the complete, wasn't he? He was the complete player. That bloke could do everything. Yeah. So gifted. So talented, really, really lucky to have him in his prime years. And David Rocastle. When a lot of people when I did go to football, I was that kind of kid. I was that kind of kid that sat and watched. I could just sit and watch just one player.
Yeah,
and just watch. Because I think it was because I was a goalkeeper when I was younger. And it was very easy. It's very easy to watch a goalkeeper because they're not really in the game, so you can watch the impact that they make every couple of 10 minutes when one of them comes from across, or they make a great save, or this kind of thing. But yeah, David Rocastle for me, I would love to have seen him play in the flesh. I would have loved to have been behind that goal when he scored the goal against Spurs in the League Cup semi-final, and I would also have loved to have been behind that goal. That chip that he done at Old Trafford against Manchester United, I would have loved to have been and witnessed those goals for sure.
No, good shouts again, cracking answers, guys. Let me get the next one in quickly. Let's fire the questions in. Now I'm going to start with Dan first. And now Dan, I know you haven't got a channel, mate, but I've taken on your adopted role as being all over the place in terms of being on streams and all that, but. Yeah, what made you sort of get into sort of the YouTube world of football and appearing on live streams and podcasts? What sort of was the trigger for that, mate?
By accident, mate, if I'm honest with you.
Wow.
By accident. It was I've always been an Arsenal season ticket holder since the Emirates. And as I said to you, I was a bit naughty and went to Highbury because my mate worked on the turnstiles. But they got tickets to the game. They got season tickets to the new stadium, and they allowed me and my dad to have the tickets while they were working in the ground. They said, "Look, we don't need them. We get to go for free, so you have the tickets. Go for it." So we've done that ever since. I've been there, going there for however long we've been there now. So 15 years has it been? Yeah. And I got to know people over that period of time. And one of the lads who sits behind me, quite well, Fergus Keating. He was doing a podcast. He said, "I'll do Guns and Yellow Ribbons podcast." And I said, not my scene. I don't really do stuff like that. Don't really get my face out there. I don't really do stuff like that. And he said, "Do you want to do something with me at half time? And I'll just put it on the stream, just do it on an audio thing, how the game was." I said, "Yeah, go on then." So I did that. And he said, "Oh, look, you come across really well. Would you like to come onto the podcast one night?" And I said, "Yeah, go on then." And it was audio only at the time. And I thought, "Yeah, go on, I'll jump on there, just have a chat." And it was good. And I did a few shows and stuff like that. And people people said, "Oh, people are quite liking listening to you and stuff like that. You need to get like social media." And I said, "Oh, I've got Facebook, but I don't really want all these people following me and stuff. That's not really my sort of thing. I'd rather just go on here and outdo me sort of thing." And then my brother-in-law, Mark, knew Craig really, 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 really well because they grew up together and went to school together. And he said, "My mate runs a podcast." He said, "You'd be really good on his one. I'll give him a text if he'll come on." And I said, "Oh, you really?" He said, yeah, bro, he'll have you on. He's a good lad. And I said, "All right then." So Craig messaged me and said, "You all right, Dan? Do you fancy coming on Same Old Arsenal?" And I'd watched Same Old Arsenal a couple of times, and I thought, bloody hell, like, all right, then I'll take that one. That's a good one to start with. So I jumped on for one night, and Craig ain't be able to get rid of me yet. So, and that was about 2 years ago. So that was how I got into it, mate. It was purely by accident. And then he said, "Oh, people would like you to get Twitter. And I thought, I don't even understand what the hell Twitter is. So I got on there and all these people are adding me. And I'm thinking, what the hell? How do I add people on here? So I grew up pretty quick in the last couple of years on social media because it wasn't really my scene now, but to be honest with you, I enjoy it. I don't really care about followers, to be honest with you. I don't care if someone's got 2 or if someone's got 2 million. If you're an Arsenal fan, I'll chat to you and I'll always welcome you on Sam Old Arsenal or the show or Guns and Ribbons, whoever it be. I'll always come on people's podcasts and support them if I can. And I've loved every minute of meeting people. You know, this is what this is about for me. It's not about trying to be famous and get loads of money. I've got a job and I quite enjoy my job, to be honest with you. So I enjoy speaking to Craig and the boys every Monday night. I enjoy the platform on a Friday, doing the team talk to try and get other fans on from opposition podcasts to talk about the games. And that's been really enjoyable to meet new people. And I kind of think the only thing that's a shame for me is that this pandemic has kind of stalled that a bit, because unfortunately some of the people at the games were starting to kind of recognize me, and say, oh, Dan from, Same Old Arsenal. Oh, nice to meet you and stuff like that. And I started to make friends on social media, and I haven't been able to go for a beer with them because of this pandemic. And I've got really close with like lead judges and obviously Harry and Graham and some of the lads from AFTV and some of the lads from who sit around me, some of the other podcasts like yourself, Albert, obviously Rich Butler's in the chat, Fergus Keating and all the Guns and Yellow Ribbons lot. We've got a massive group now of, no joke, probably 50 or 60 people that I speak to now, that would all be at games with me. And that's how I got into it, mate. I've never had my own channel. I've always gone on to other people's. I'm not great technically, so I don't know that I'd be great with it. I can press buttons that play Same Old Arsenal music, and that's about as far as it goes.
That's all you need, mate. That's all you need. Good.
So I've always enjoyed it, man, and I've always tried to get on with everybody and not have any enemies, because we're all Arsenal fans at the end of the day. And I've enjoyed meeting people, man. I've loved it. So yeah, it's been great.
Cracking answer, Dan. Cracking answer. Craig, come to you, mate. So what was the trigger point for you, and sort of was there any extenuating circumstances that made you start out doing YouTube?
Yeah, money and fame.
Straight to the point, mate.
And he's got there. He's got there now.
He's got there. Go on, mate.
No, I'm only joking. Why did I start doing YouTube? I'll tell you why I started doing YouTube. Because, first of all, obviously, there was AFTV and all this business, but a lot of people forget that there was a lot of Arsenal podcasts around before Arsenal Fan TV. And the first Arsenal podcast I ever listened to was Bergkamp Wonderland. And I used to listen to Bergkamp Wonderland quite religiously. And it, as now happens, that I'm very good pals with the lads from Bergkamp Wonderland, especially Danny, who is one of my favourite people in the whole wide world. But I said to myself, I started the Gooner Talk. A lot of people would remember the Gooner Talk. I started the Gooner Talk originally as an Irish Arsenal podcast.
Okay.
I said, well, there's no one doing it. There's no Irish Arsenal podcast. There's loads of English ones, but there's no, let me get the view of the Irish Arsenal supporters. So I started it. And the traction it got, I was like, bloody hell. This is like I'm going back. It's got to be 10 years, Albert. It's got to be 10 years, right? So I'm going back 10 years. And the traction, I was like, bloody hell, this is a bit much. So then I kind of broadened it out. Then Arsenal Fan TV came along. And I was like, oh, this is great, this. When it first came out.
Yeah.
So I've done what I think anyone would have done. I took a bit of intuition, and I said, right, I think I'll try and get him on, and I'll try and get him on, and I'll try and get him on, because everyone, they seem to like him. So I'll get him on. So I used to get DT on. It was in the early years, I owe a lot of thanks to DT. Massive thanks to DT. In the early years, never turned me down, always came on, was great. People like Mems, who's a very good pal of mine still. He came on the channel. Both very good talkers. God bless him. Claude would always come on and give his give his, what he wanted to say. And I can always remember the first Lee Judges video that was on Arsenal Fan TV. And I said, I've got to get this bloke. I have got to get this bloke on here. And I did. Contacted him on Twitter. Sent him a thank you very much, Shane. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Comments like that make it all worth doing. Thank you very much indeed.
We got Shane.
I got a hold of him on Twitter, introduced myself. Yeah, I'll come on, no problem. So the little love story between me and Lee, that's, the rest is history from there. Then there was a situation. Am I boring anyone? Or no? Am I boring anyone?
No, go on, mate. You go, mate. Not at all.
Then there was a situation arose. I was doing a live stream one night. We were doing a Wenger out versus Wenger in debate. And this was when kind of DT was getting up there as a Wenger outer, and he was dropping banners and this, that, and the other. And we were doing a Wenger out show, and I said, "You know what? I'm not gonna have DT on tonight because everyone knows what DT's got to say. So I'm going to bring on Mems, and I'm going to bring on. I won't name them because that's not, they're not here to defend themselves. But I had 4 guests on and me as the host, and we were having this debate anyway about Wenger in and Wenger out, and this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, we get about half an hour into it. Now, this is when we used to do the podcast on a thing called Google Hangouts. And what you had to do is, it was a bit like this, but you sent a link to someone, and someone clicked the link, and they could join. But with this one, you can actually, they don't come in until you actually press them in. Do you know? Yeah. But with this one, if you had the link, you were game on. You were in. So I can laugh about it now, but halfway through this podcast anyway. Hello, boys and girls. It's DT, right? He's pulled in. He's coming home from some game along the motorway, and he's pulled in along the motorway. Someone sent him the link, right? People know who it was, and I'm not going to say who it was because he's not here to defend himself. But it's all in the past now, right? But someone sent him a link, and he went absolutely mental at the 2 Wenger ins. And I was so inexperienced at the time, and I just froze. I didn't know what to do. Do you know? I was like, do I kick him out? Do I leave him here? What do I do? Everything was going through my head. Like, do I leave him here for the views, or do I kick him out? What do I do? What do I do? So I let him rant on for a little while, and then I kind of plucked up the courage and kind of kicked him out, and kicked him out anyway. So then after that, the Gooner Talk channel was kind of lost any credibility that it had, do you know? Because it became something that I didn't want it to become. It had become just with them, and I don't blame DT for this. I'm not hating on DT. I've got a lot. I've still got a lot of time for DT. DT has gone on and become very, very successful at what he does. No one can deny his passion for the club that he supports, because he's very passionate about Arsenal. No one can call him a crap supporter, because he's done it all. He's been there. He followed this club home and away all his life. So this is not, this ain't nothing to do with DT. But after that happened, it became like the storm on Twitter, man. After that, oh my God, I was like, I was shaking. Watch the notifications were rolling in while I was holding my phone, this thing had gone viral, and people, oh, did you see this? Did you see that? This, that, and the other. And through inexperience, I'd done a video straight after it saying, "That's it, I quit. I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore." And I was so worried about what was going to happen, And I let it lie for a couple of months, and I tried to bring it back, but it just lost. It had lost its, it lost its credibility. So I gave it to. I instead of deleting a channel and just letting it die, I said, well, I'll give it to someone. I might as well give it to someone. Do you know? So I gave it to Tom Canton.
Yeah.
And I gave it to Tom Canton, and look what Tom Canton's done with it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable what he's done with it. He took it in a different direction.
Yeah.
I was more of an interviewer of fans. Tom is more of a Tom's a very good writer. Tom's a very good talker. Tom likes to go into tactics. Tom likes to go into why this player would suit this and that and the other. And that's the way he's taken it. And fair play to him. He's made a great success of it. But then I was kind of missing talking. And cut a long story short, me and Mem started the same old Arsenal. It was audio only. We started it. What we were going to do is we were going to take stupid tweets from Arsenal fans, and we were basically going to laugh at them on a podcast and take the mickey out of them. But then I was like, no, I can't do that. So just in case people got the I'm saying, you get your nose put across your face next time you go at the Emirates. But so we kind of took that in a different direction. Mems had to pull out because he got promoted at work and he couldn't do it. Lee Judges had been on it a couple of times. I rung Lee. Do you want to be the co-host? Yes, I do. He says, thank you very much. Great. The same old Arsenal was formed. Bosh. History. Done, dusted. Here where we are now.
What a cracking story. I'll tell you what, that was Jack Canori story. I'll tell you, that was brilliant. Oh, Darren Craig, I've got one more question.
Sorry, it went on for so long. Sorry, but
it's all right, mate. It's all right. That's why it's called life stories, mate. It's all right. Go. No, I've got one more question to ask my amazing panel, guys. Like I keep saying, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and if you don't know what to do, you should know what to do by now, my people. And there you have it, people, again. Right, one more question to ask my esteemed panel. I'm going to kick off with Dan. Who is the one non-Arsenal player domestically who you would have liked to have seen play for the mighty Arsenal? Killer question, mate.
Is this currently playing in the Premier League, or is this?
I'll tell you what. I'll give you. You can have two answers, Dan. Go on. Have a current and a past one, mate.
So currently, if I could pick anybody to play, it would be KDB.
Oh, good
I think Kevin De Bruyne is outstanding. For me, the best player in the league. So I'll go for him. I just think that he is the closest player below the bracket of Messi and Ronaldo in terms of his class. So I would go for him. I have a funny way of looking at world-class players. I don't know what you need to be a world-class player, because world-class to me is Messi, Ronaldo. I wouldn't say KDB is world-class. I'd say he's below that. That's just me. And that may just me being harsh. I think he's got to be very, very, very ridiculously good. Ballon d'Ors coming out your backside to be called world-class. That's just me. A lot of people say that Harry Kane's world-class, and not for me. So, KDB would be the one I would go for currently. And I think if I'm looking at players that have been domestically in the past, then I need to pick someone who's not come through the ranks for me. So I'm not going to look at Giggs, Scholes, Gerrard. I'm not going to look at those players. I'm going to look at Arsenal who could have come to Arsenal as opposed to going to Manchester United or Chelsea, if that makes sense. And I think the player I'm going to pick is one that did play with Kevin De Bruyne and did come to Manchester City and just was outstanding. David Silva.
I
don't really know why he does not get the credit he deserves. He's better than Hazard. People laugh going mental about Hazard. Don't even come close for me. He's gone to Real Madrid and just got fat. That's how good he is. There is nothing that guy has done.
It's true.
Honestly. David Silva was a beautiful footballer. And I was asked by Ray from Man City TV, who would you have? David Silva or Cesc Fabregas? And it was so hard for me because I loved Cesc Fabregas, but I went for David Silva because I think he is a better footballer, can play in a lot more positions, was a lot more influential, in my opinion, over the last 10 years for Manchester City than any other player. And it's easy for Manchester City to replace him because of the money they've got. So you don't look at them missing a player like David Silva because obviously they can just go and replace him with another one for loads of money. But if he had played for Arsenal, my God, would we have missed somebody like David Silva? Other players you can mention, the Zolas and Cantonas of this world. But for me, it has to be those two players. I had so much respect for them. I think Gerrard and Scholes are two that come straight to mind, but I don't feel like I can pick them because they were already at them clubs. I feel like what I have to do is say if only they would have signed for Arsenal instead of Manchester City. And that's why I've gone for Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva, I think.
Good shouts, Dan. People in the chat, smash that like button. I'm sure you agree with Dan, or you might agree with Craig when he gives you his answers. So, Craig, same question to you, my brother. What you saying?
Past and present domestic footballers.
Non-Arsenal, yeah. Ooh, tough.
It's so a massively tough question, isn't it? So many choices. You go back through the years of all the players that have played, that have graced the pitches in the Premier League. Goodness me. I'm going to go with Dan. I think Kevin De Bruyne is the standout option for present. I think people, you call that the easy choice, but he's mastered, isn't he? He's unbelievable. And when Dan says about what is world class, he's world class in my opinion. He is world class. He goes into any first 11 in the world. Any first 11 in the world. And when you can get into any first 11 in the world, then you're world class. Simple as that. He's just so influential as well, isn't he? When he's on the pitch, you can see his teammates have the most utmost respect for him. And again, I go back to playing football simply. He loves to play it simple. You watch Kevin De Bruyne play football. Everything's simple. Nothing's overcomplicated. Ever. The past one, right, that I'd have loved to have seen at Arsenal might surprise a few people. But I think he's, I don't know whether I should say it because Arsenal fans might not have liked him.
Was it Hossam Ghali or Ben Taleb? What one?
The other one who I've liked to have seen at Arsenal in those years is Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Wow, good shout.
I'd have loved to have seen Ruud van Nistelrooy at Arsenal.
Imagine him and Thierry up front.
Oh mate, God. Stop it.
Salivating, honestly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I know he gets a lot of grief, and I know he was a fucking diver and this, that, and the other. But look, he would have been our diver, and he would have been our fucking pain in the ass. But look, there is no getting around that Ruud van Nistelrooy was class, world class, one of the best strikers the Premier League will ever see. Absolutely fantastic. And I mean, there's people telling me to get off the podcast now, but look, let's take our Arsenal hats off. Let's take our Arsenal hats off for a second.
100%. That's the point. Yeah.
He was amazing. What a footballer. What a player. Score your goal from anywhere. Pop up anywhere. The ball will be going in the box. You'll think there's no one in the box, and all of a sudden he'll pop out from somewhere and header it in the back of the net. So yeah, for me, Ruud van Nistelrooy, I'd love to have seen him in an Arsenal shirt. And like Dan says, imagine him and Omri up front. I mean, dearie me. Yeah. What a strike force.
We're not forgetting Dennis, by the way, but I did say
no, of course not. Of course not. Yeah.
Well, people start losing their mind in the chat. Yeah.
But God, yeah.
Good shouts, man, guys. But yeah, for me, it might surprise some people actually. But like I said, as I say to people, I'm an 80s kid, so I'm going to start with my past. I was played as a striker, but you're no good as a striker if you haven't got some quality midfield players behind you, or players you can look at and say, you know what, I'm glad he's in my side. Now, as a young black kid growing up in Southeast London and watching football, and ex-Inter Milan, ex-Liverpool, ex-Manchester United, Paul Ince.
Got it, yeah, Paul Ince, squad player.
Yeah, for me, there's not many players, midfield players especially, who could walk the walk and talk the talk.
He was a general, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he absolutely could for England and for Manchester United. And very, very few players at the time who went from England to go and play abroad in Milan. Probably sold under his nose, but I thought Paul Ince was class. I even look at people like Brian Robson. Anybody who has seen a clip of this guy play football, Captain Marvel. I think Brian Robson, I think that guy had every injury possible for a footballer. The guy was injured. A fabulous player as he was, he used to pick up a hell of a lot of injuries. But my current player, he's still playing now, but he played in this league, but he's obviously playing abroad now. And I've picked this guy because I genuinely believe I think he would have won us another possible 2 league titles at Arsenal, despite what you think of him. Luis Suarez, for our audio listeners.
Great shout.
And again, it comes back to what I said before in terms of Arsenal's recruitment, but Luis Suarez would have made the difference. It was no secret that we could have got this guy, but unfortunately with Arsenal, we have a tradition of not getting the business done, but this guy in his pomp was just different. Was just in terms of his ability to finish, different class for Uruguay. When he's at Barcelona, Ajax, Liverpool, absolutely different class, and that's the one player I think would have got us least guys another 2 league titles. 100%.
I don't know, man. I was when we didn't sign him. I thought it's okay because the player we got in the door instead was going to be brilliant. In Yaya Sanogo.
I knew that. I should have thought he's coming out. You're going to come out with something. I tell you.
But he's always like Luis Suarez is a great shout because like he's another one. Right, here's another one that I would have taken. He's another one I would have taken, but here's another one I would have taken as well before he went to Chelsea. I would have taken Diego Costa, and I'll tell you why I would have taken Diego Costa. Not after Chelsea, before he went to Chelsea. I'd have taken Diego Costa and a player like Luis Suarez because Arsenal have been missing that kind of player for so long. A bastard.
Yeah.
How many times have you been watching them two and gone, you prick, you bastard, you But if he'd have come to Arsenal, he'd have been ours.
Yeah.
Do you know, he'd have been our fella that would be going winding up people and getting them booked and getting them sent off. And we've missed that so much in our team. We haven't had a player like that for so long and probably still haven't got that player.
No, we haven't.
That would get in amongst it and wind people up to the fact of getting them sent off and booked and this kind of thing of kissing them and winking at them and blowing them kisses and getting them wound up, to think right, I'm gonna and getting them booked and sent off and that kind of thing, So I would have taken him. I would have taken Suarez, a massive shout. And
so many.
There is so many.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, the first two I thought of when the question came up for who I would have loved to Arsenal to have signed. The first 2 that came up was Luis Suarez and Cristiano Ronaldo because we were close to getting both of them. They were the first 2 that came up. Xabi Alonso is another great shout because I loved Xabi Alonso. Absolutely loved him. Right, and the other current player that KDB gets it 100%. The only one that came close was N'Golo Kante because I just love everything that he does on the football. It's such a hard question, but a really good one, by the way. A really good question that.
Yeah, that's why I like to throw them questions out there, guys. But guys, big up to the guys in the chat. The chat's been lively. I've kept up of it just about anyway. But big up Ryan, big up Mark in the chat, Jack. I think Russ is still in there, Mark's in there, Guna Souls. First, guys, like I said, smash the like button. The live stories part 5 has come to an end. Someone just shouted Basuma there. Yeah, I hope that happens in the summer. I'll be honest with you.
Oh,
but,
yes.
Honestly, absolutely.
Please, him and party.
Yeah, 100%. But no, I want to thank my fantastic panel that's come on Live Stories Part 5. First, I want to give a big shout out to Craig for coming on tonight, mate. And again, I thank you for allowing me onto your platform as well.
Oh, you don't need to thank me, mate. You're superb, and that's the reason why you're on the platform. So you don't need to be thanking me. I need to be thanking you for coming on always late notice and stuff like that. You've never let me down. Hopefully next season, with the more content, we hopefully get some more content going, and you'll be more of a regular. on the same old Arsenal. Lots of people are calling for it in the comment section on the videos. You might laugh, but go and have a look. Go and have a look for yourself, mate. People are calling for it. So, yeah, thank you very much for having me on, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I wish you all the best with your future endeavours.
Thank you, Craig, man. Much love, man. Dan, I have to big up Dan. For networking for me, mate, you've been a godsend. Absolutely. All these opportunities that have popped up, meeting likes of James Rowe, Callum McFadden, non-Arsenal fans, that's down to you, mate. You know, just a simple DM sometime last year, October, November, and it's gone from there, mate. So, mate, much pleasure for you coming on the show, mate.
Man, always welcome, man. And the reason that you're, you know, I allowed you to network with these people because you're good at what you do, Albert. You've got a great channel. You talk sense. You're a good lad. And in tough times for all of us, we've always stuck together, man. And you've always helped me out. I'll always help you out. And it's a pleasure to have you on Same Old Arsenal as well. And a pleasure to come on here, man. So thank you very much, mate.
No, much love, guys. Thanks for the kind words. For me, tonight has been defining for me because to think sort of 2-3 years ago, watching you guys and watching YouTube channels about Arsenal and football in general, when people said to me like last 2-3 years, Albie, you got to do the YouTube thing or whatever. I'm like I go to the games, the home games at the Emirates, and you know, chat to fans and love Arsenal and the rest of it. But I never really thought about doing it, if I'm being honest with you, the YouTube thing. But yeah, to sort of turn around full circle and to be asking you guys questions for me right now is just nuts. Like it doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, it's a big step for me tonight. So big ups to the people in the chat, RJ, my bros, and Guna Souls. You know, for the time I've known you, you've been backing me from the start. So yeah, much love, man. So yeah, mad time for me, man, to be doing this, but fantastic, love it. So guys, as I say, hashtag AlbertJTV. That is me, over and out for tonight. Amazing guests with Craig and Dan. Up the Arsenal, big game on Friday. Obviously, not to forget to mention, as you guys have mentioned in the chat, and Craig and Dan as well. I should be hopefully there on Friday. Life outside YouTube world might prevent me from being there, but I will try my damnedest to be there because this is too important. It's too important. The time is right. Sometimes in life, it's about timing, and let's get this guy out of our club, man.
Absolutely.
His position is, believe it or not, whether people want to believe it or not, his position is untenable. So let's put the foot on the accelerator.
We've been waiting for his guard. All we've been waiting for is his guard to be down, and now his guard is down. Now it's time we're going for the finish this time. All of us united. Don't matter who you like, who you hate, who you watch, who you don't like. If someone turns up with an Arsenal shirt on, stand shoulder to shoulder with them, doing what's right for the club. Get this parasite out of Arsenal Football Club. Friday, 6 o'clock, Emirates Stadium.
Amen to that, man. So, guys, you've heard it here from Craig and Dan. Get your ass down to the Emirates, 6 o'clock. Or actually, you know what? Get there before that and mingle with the rest of the boys. But guys, that is me, your host, AlbertJTV, at AUM57, my Twitter handle. This will go out on Spotify and Anchor, and we'll put it on my IGTV on Instagram. So that is me, AlbertJTV, over and out. Hashtag Life Stories Part 5.